EA homepage. You would click on the A to Z index. From there, you will pick S. Scroll down just a little bit to special education. And then over here in the right, click on dyslexia. And then again, scroll down just a little bit, maybe a little more. And then you will see right here, Appendix A, Dyslexia Handbook FAQ, updated March 18th, 2022. So you can click on that. One thing I want to point out is to please be aware of the links that are within the questions and the answers. For instance, on number 12, here is one example of that. So you would click right here where it says services of students with dyslexia, encoding instructional arrangement. And I'm just going to click on that and see if it'll open up for us, and it'll take you here. Are you guys seeing the same thing? Okay. So here's the services for students with dyslexia, coding instructional arrangement. Let me get back to the original FAQ. Right, so there have been lots of changes. So I do recommend that you read this with its entirety. We went from 74 to 48 questions, and they're streamlined to provide guidance for the changes in the handbook. Right, that is it. Deanna, do you have anything you would like to add to that?
No, I think since it just posted, I mean, this is really hot. This posted Monday. So some of you might have gotten the fact that it posted already from your ESC, but I imagine many of you are seeing it for the first time. So we can even come back to a later LEA webinar so that people have a chance to drop questions and answers in. Of course, you can send questions always to our TEA special education inbox. I can throw that link up. But I feel like people probably just need a chance to digest it. Just like Michelle said, many of the questions have embedded links. The one that you showed, though, I think is the only one that has a link to like a secondary resource. Everything else is like links to a web page or something like that. So the content is there. New. This will continue to live as be a living document potentially. So you can see it has updated March 18th, 2022. It's possible that as additional questions come in around dyslexia in the handbook that we could update this appendix piece. The actual appendix is not part of the rule for the handbook, so we can make changes throughout the year to the appendix document, even if the handbook itself doesn't change.
Right. Oh, one last thing, the categories did not change, so those were the same. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Appreciate it. Okay, so next up we have Susan Bynum. She's here as a follow-up to our last LEA webinar, and she's going to talk about operating procedures, local policies and updates, and some questions and answers that you guys had submitted. Susan?
Okay, Donna is going to share her screen for me in a second here, hopefully. Yay, all right. You're still showing the sidebar, Donna. Thank you, perfect. All right, so this is a follow-up from our last meeting. We were going to answer all the questions that you guys sent to us. Some of them were similar, so we put some answers together. So the first one, as always, is will this presentation be available? We always get that question. Yes, the special education operating procedures, the March 22 slide deck is posted on the TEA special education guidance webpage in guidance documents. So you do have access to that. When are your operating procedures due? August 31st of 2022. So you have a good amount of time. This is due in August, the end of August. And where can you find the templates? Because we went over a lot of new templates, and we'll get to that in a minute here. The templates can be found in the Legal Framework Resource Library. So you go to Legal Framework and use that resource library. There's going to be a lot of different things in there that will really help out. Go ahead. What does the number signify? Well, there were all these new templates with new numbers, and we'll go over some of that in a minute. The number just indicates that this is the newest template. Does everyone need to add information to these new revised templates that end in 1, when we showed you the naming conventions, yes, every LEA should update to the newest template. So if it has that 1 after it, that's how we were indicating the newest template, because we had to change naming conventions so it's not the exact same name as the old one. Will the hashtag fake composite include dyslexia? No. Dyslexia services includes information about dyslexia in the child find category. So you'll find that stuff in child find. What will happen with the current operating procedures uploaded in the legal framework? All operating procedures should be uploaded and linked to the appropriate hashtag by August 31st, 2022. On September 1st, the old templates will be replaced or erased. When a report is run, the LEAs will be able to see which operating procedures have not yet been uploaded or linked. So when you go through, you can run your report, you can see what's still missing. But as of September 1st of 2022, the old templates are going to disappear. If a district's current operating procedures have multiple areas covered in one document addressing fake, is that still allowed? Yes, it is. You can continue with that. Go ahead, Donna. When will the old templates be deleted? Again, the old templates will be deleted on September 1st, 2022. Will the templates already uploaded by LEAs be deleted? The required templates all begin with a hashtag. Some hashtag templates will be deleted and others will be moved underneath another template. So we've really, Lee has done a great job of consolidating a lot of these templates, and a list will be provided in the Legal Framework Resource Library in the next few weeks. We're working on pushing that out. So again, check that Legal Framework Library, Resource Library, and you'll be able to see which, there'll be a document in there that shows what frameworks are going to still be there and which ones are being moved. And when you see it, it's going to look so much better because there was a lot of different templates and now they've really been consolidated. And I think it'll be a much easier process for you now. Of course, it's new, so we have to stumble through it, but I think that'll be very helpful when we get that put up. So each sub-content area requires an operating procedure. Yes, each are addressed in the related template. So you'll be able to see that. My current operating procedures are the hashtag templates. Will I need to use only the hashtag template with the parenthetical 1? Yes. So the only templates you need to update are the ones that have the 1 after the name, because that indicates it's the newest one. And again, we'll have those lists on that in the library for you. Are the 5 new templates required to be uploaded in March for 21-22 or by August 31st of 2022 for 2022-23? The 5 new templates are required to be uploaded or linked by this August 31st, by the end of August again. There will be a link to the public. Tammy just gave me an answer on something. Link to the published March 10th webinar and frameworks. We will have a link to get you to those published frameworks. Will you provide a rubric crosswalk checklist so we can track progress? Yes. The crosswalk and information sheet are posted in the information items in the Legal Frameworks Resource Library. Again, go to that library. Where do we go? Okay. There. What is the new expectation that must be completed by August 31st, 2022? The expectation is that LEAs save their operating procedures to the correct hashtag the template, the ones that end in 01. Those are the ones that are to be updated in 2022. How will this change for linking instead of uploading? LEAs that choose to link need to use the correct template name and save them. So when we went over before, it says the tag and the name of the template. The name has to be exactly like what's in the template. So if you link, that's fine, but make sure that the link is, it's the correct name when you save them. Does board policy also need to follow the new naming convention with the hashtags, or is that only for operating procedures? So you are correct. Only operating procedures need the hashtags. When is self-assessment due? The window for completion of the self-assessment will be May 2nd, 2022 to September 30th, 2022. So it opens on May 2nd and it will close on September 30th. So you can get that information off the self-assessment webpage that's linked through review and support. And what is a commercial product? So we got that question when we were talking about people that use commercial products for their templates. That is if you have a vendor or a different product that you are using, not the ones that were offered. When you're using those, it has to have the 4 elements that were reviewed earlier. It has to have the elements consistent with those templates in the framework. They must include all the required content, and they must have the exact name as it appears in the template. Okay, let me look. So some OPs do not have a hashtag. We're going to give a list of all the new templates with the names. Go ahead, Lee. Did you have an answer for that? I thought somebody was talking. But the new list will be coming out. All right. Go ahead, Tammy. Tammy will be talking about upcoming requirements.
Yeah, there's a couple of questions. Sorry, we're providing clarification here. The link that's in the chat and in the Q&A is for the March 10th webinar that we published after that webinar. And so today's slides on the Q&As from today and the slides that you see now will be published after today's meeting at the same place. It'll just be right under. So you should be able to have a copy of today's as well. If not today, then check back tomorrow. And then the other thing, Susan, about the list, I think there was a question about where to find, are there resources in the resource library? And we are working to get those resources up. There's going to be, as we mentioned last time, 2 companion documents that will help you understand where to upload the hashtag, the new hashtag templates. And then also we are in the process this week of providing out to that resource library on Framework, kind of a concise list of what's old, what's disappearing September 1st, and what's required by August 31st as well. The other 2 companion documents and anything in the webinar that we provided on the 10th has the requirements for August 31st. We'll give you another resource as well. They just list everything, including the ones that are going away on September 1st. There was another question about, so March 31st is no longer a date. No, that's no longer a date. We noticed last time that we have all of these requirements due August 31st. So we're giving you a bunch more time to get these templates up. Okay, I don't know that there's any other questions. If there is, we can answer them at the end. We have a few additional upcoming requirements that are also linked to the August 31st due date. And so I'm going to give a little bit of information here about these 2 upcoming requirements that are based in assurances. So you'll be seeing next Thursday, I believe the date is March 31st. There will be a TAA letter that will be issued from the agency outlining these assurance requirements and the legal authority behind it, and what we're having to do as a state to make these assurances via each of you LEAs to either meet the requirements from SB 89 or to meet some OSEP monitoring requirements around the dyslexia handbook release and updates. So first off, Senate Bill 89 requirement that was enacted in the 87th regular session is requiring LEAs to, if applicable, to supply a supplement to the IEP. And when the report of the students of a student's full and individual and initial evaluation was completed during the 2019-20 or 2020-21 school year, if those initial evaluations were conducted during those years, if the evaluation report was completed on time during those years, there's nothing to do. If the IEP was developed under those requirements, under those years, if the provision for special ed and related services was interrupted, delayed, reduced, suspended, or discontinued, there needs to be some documentation of that. So the requirement to have that supplement to consider compensatory education services was written into SB 89 and put into Education Code at 29.0052. And so the assurance is that by May 1st of this year, 2022, that each child's IEP, if it does not contain the information required in SB 89, a supplement has to be applied, and that has to be completed. And then we're asking for your assurances that those requirements have been met, and you'll make those assurances no later than August 31st. And again, the due date for the supplement or the written statement in the child's IEP has to be made by May 1st of 2022, and then the assurances that you will make through the legal framework that has been reviewed and completed will be by August 31st. The second assurance statement that will be outlined in the TAA next Thursday is concerning the Dyslexia Handbook 2021 update training and the communication requirements around that. So all LEAs must designate at least one staff member to attend the agency-developed training titled the Texas Dyslexia Academy 2, TDA 2, for the Dyslexia Handbook 2021 update, no later than August 31st, 2022. So part of that second assurance will assure that has been completed and that there is at least one staff member who has attended the TDA 2 training. And then additionally, as soon as possible, we're asking for this to be done as soon as possible, but no later than August 31st, 2022. LEAs must update all your websites, materials, static resources, and information to parents and staff to reflect the Dyslexia Handbook 2021 update. And I believe if Deanna's still on, there is currently as well a supplement piece of information to make sure that you've considered those changes that have been implemented in the Dyslexia Handbook 2021 update. And so those materials, websites, resources, and information to parents and staff have to be assured that those have been completed by August 31st of 2022 to meet our monitoring requirements under OSEP. And I think that's it. And I'm sure there might be a few questions in queue about these assurances. So I'll pause here to see if anybody wants to push up those questions. Stephanie, do you have anything that we need to float up at this time?
There are a few questions in the Q&A. If you
Yeah,
can see
can
that,
you-
Tammy.
Can you see the questions in Q&A, or would you like me to read them to you?
Okay, I just got there. Sorry. I was having
okay.
some some back and forth technical.
Okay.
Okay, I think the first one is about the dyslexia instructional arrangement document. I think that goes back to the first topic. And so I'm gonna punt on that one to Deanna or Dawn. And then in a second, but the assurances on the framework are not there yet. We will be getting those out in the next week or so. So the TAA letter will come out. You're just getting a preview bit of information here. So those assurances will show up in the next couple of weeks. You'll see the TAA next Thursday, give you more information, then you should be able to access the assurances once the legal framework gets those up. Yes, the dyslexia assurance is completed by the special education director or designee. So I think those are all related to the resource library. They're not there yet. We're working on that, getting some pre-information here about some things that are coming up and coming. Deanna, are you still here? I'm not sure. I can't see the other participants. Stephanie's Deanna or Don still here? Some of these are questions about dyslexia training, where to find the information on it.
I'm still here, Tammy.
Okay, great.
I can see the one about the Tammy previewed that there's a TAA letter that will be coming out that will talk about a requirement for LEAs to have at least one staff member attend the Texas Dyslexia Academy training 2, which is all about the dyslexia handbook. That TAA is scheduled, I believe you said, Tammy, to come out next Thursday.
Yes.
So that TAA letter will tell you where that training is available, but just to preview it for you now, that training is available currently from every ESC. So all 20 ESCs have had at least one person, their dyslexia specialist, trained to provide that training out to LEAs. That training is provided both in person and virtually. In addition, as we get through and closer to that assurance being required, we also plan to do some the same exact training, but offer it virtually from the state level too. So in case you can't make one at your ESC, we'll have kind of some other times that are catch-alls to help support. But right now that training is available and being trained from the ESCs across the state. Michelle, did I miss anything there about where you find that training?
You did not.
And again, it will be in the TAA letter that comes out next week, but your ESCs have information. It's TDA 2, Texas Dyslexia Academy 2 is the training that you would be looking for from your ESC.
Okay, I don't see any other questions. Deanna, I think there was one question about the dyslexia instructional arrangement document you shared. You just want to take.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, the instructional arrangement document, I'm sure that it does not provide every possible scenario that an ARD committee could come up with for how to meet a student's needs and provide them FAPE and services. We tried to hit like the most common combinations where we were getting questions on how is this student coded in terms of instructional arrangement. That's a different question probably than like what are the possible ways that you could meet a student's needs who has dyslexia. But if there's a specific, like it sounds like you're thinking of a specific scenario and a specific student, that's a great one to just email to our special education at TEA box, and we can engage like in back and forth conversation about a specific scenario and what that might look like. But ARD committees have, they're able to develop the schedule of services and plan that meets a student's needs. That instructional arrangement document tried to hit some of the big arrangements that we were getting questions about and how those minutes would be calculated and count.
Okay. That's all I have, Stephanie. I'm going to turn it back to you. Stephanie, you're muted. Stephanie, you're muted.
Don't you love when you do that? I apologize. That's all we have for today's agenda. And just to let everybody know that the next TEA LEA webinar is April 14th. And this recording will be posted to our the same site that you used to link up to this webinar, and it'll be posted in a few days. So thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it.